Hello friends, welcome back. Today we are going to explore one more micro niche. This I would actually call it as a ultra micro niche because this is something related to a particular hobby, not done by many people. At least you won't find expertise common. So this is a very I think a special skill. So let's look into the details. The micro niche that I am going to discuss today is tattoo. Let's look into the details. Okay, here straight away you can see the difficulty is just medium, but look at the search volume. Okay, it's 197K. That itself shows it has a super high potential, right? So let's do our five-factor validation. Typically, what we do for any of the micro niche to validate, to check if it has it satisfies all the factors. Okay, all the validations. So let's look at the first validation. What we check for is competition, in other words difficulty. Okay, we want to check how many keywords associated with this particular micro niche have low difficulty or low competition. Okay, so if you see here, there are about nearly 2.8 million keywords are there associated with this particular micro niche. But what we want to do is we want to filter the keyword with low difficulty. Okay, for the people who are not very familiar with these technical terms, KD stands for keyword difficulty. Lesser is better, and it is a lesser means it is difficult, it's low, less difficult, and competition is low. Okay, so for the newbies, I always suggest just pick only the keywords with the difficulty less than 20 and start the journey. Then as and when your website becomes popular, you can actually target the keywords with higher difficulty as well. But in the early days, it's always better to pick the keywords with difficulty less than lower difficulty only. Okay, now if you see here, the keywords with low difficulty, uh, we can see about nearly 150K keywords. That's a huge number, right? So it satisfies basically the first validation. That means there are more than enough number of keywords associated with this particular micro niche with low difficulty. Second one, what we want to see is search volume. Okay, search volume. So or you may call it as a traffic. Okay, so there is another attribute here, something called value. What is significant is basically number of times this particular keyword has been searched on an average per month. Okay, for example, henna tattoo is being searched about 33K times per month. That's what the volume is all about. So always search traffic or volume higher is always better. Now if you see here, for most of these keywords the search volume is actually unbelievable. So you have so high search volume. You won't find this high search volume for most of the micro niches that we have been analyzing, barring one or two, right? So that means the second validation is also true. Now the third validation, what we want to do is uh, so third validation is basically scope for content. So let's filter this with minimum 500. Okay, what is scope for content? Scope for content is once you pick the micro niche, you need to find, you need to have enough number of topics to publish different articles. Okay, so now we found about a 150K keywords with low difficulty, right? But not necessarily all keywords will have a minimum search volume. What minimum search volume is all about? So the volume, right? So unless otherwise you select certain keywords with minimum traffic per month, you won't be able to really get the benefit out of it. So what I normally suggest is, first, for initial topics, pick the keywords with the difficulty less than 20, and also look for an average monthly searches minimum about a 500. Okay, now we applied both these filters, keyword difficulty less than 20, volume more than 500. Now you can see it has about a 4000 plus keywords. Okay, that means more or less most of these particular keywords can be used to write articles. That's what it means. So that means scope is nearly you have scope to write more than 4,000 pieces of content if you go for this particular micro niche. So what my advice would be, look for a micro niche at least that has a potential to write publish about 100 articles. Okay, minimum of 100. More is always better. But here you have about 4,000 plus. Even if you take out some of the redundant and irrelevant keywords and all that, still I think you will be easily able to find about 1,000 plus keywords. For example, I think shop may not be really right keyword for a blog. So let's exclude shop or shops and apply this filter and check it out how many keywords will appear. Come on. Okay, so that's anyway we have checked that it's basically third validation also is true for this particular micro niche. And while the results come up, let's talk about the fourth validation. Fourth validation is basically reference site, okay, or proof. So what I always suggest is look for another any other website that has low domain authority or low domain rating but ranking performing well for this particular micro niche. Okay, so you can see here now, right? So by excluding shop and shops also, you still have about 4,000 plus keywords. So this is a perfect micro niche. Even if you select write one topic basically for each of the micro niche like henna tattoo, wolf tattoo, phoenix tattoo, still I think you will be able to easily produce about 1,000 plus articles. Again, this may not be suitable for everyone to start a blog. This is exclusively for the people who has that passion and skill, creative skills in actually either uh, creating those tattoos or doing some research in that field. For this is more suitable for those people. Again, those people normally always complain about not having enough opportunities in blogging, on online earning. I think this is a perfect micro niche for them to start basically their online careers. Okay, so now let's look at the fourth validation. So I found basically two reference sites, but let's take the first one, um, pachotattoo.com. Let's look the data points related to this. You can see the data here now for this particular website. So one of the most interesting attribute when we analyze any of the website is DR. DR means domain rating. For the people who are not familiar with these technical terms, lower DR means it is basically relatively new or unestablished site. Okay, higher DR means that's a branded or well established site. For example, if you start a website tomorrow or today, DR for your website is going to be 0 for brand new website. For Facebook and maybe other websites, Twitter kind of websites, you will find a DR at about near 100. Okay, so when you are looking for a reference site related to this particular micro niche, you always need to look for a website with low DR. So that proves that even if you start a website now, you still have a very good chance basically to rank well. That's what it is. Okay, but if you pick something with a DR of 70, 80, you can't take that as a reference, because by that new site will have a DR 0 and you can't compare both of them. Okay, now if you see here this particular website, though DR is so low, still see here the data point, organic keywords. Organic keywords means for number of different search terms for which this particular website is appearing in the search results, 50k plus. That's awesome. Okay, and then how much traffic it is attracting? Nearly again 50k, 47k basically. Okay, these are very attractive numbers. So this proves again that even if you start a new website today related to this particular micro niche, this has an excellent potential to perform well. Okay, let's look at one more website that I discovered on same micro niche and look at the analysis. So the second reference website what we picked up is tattooza.com. Again, this is not the DR. If you compare it, this is not as low as the site we just saw. So DR was 8 for the other site we just verified, and here DR is 15. That means this is a relatively more little more established than this particular website. Now, accordingly you can see the numbers, right? So here it was around 50k of keywords as well as traffic, and if you see here nearly about a 90k and 80k, 90k of different search terms for which this particular website is appearing, and about nearly 80k per month is the traffic that it is attracting. Again, organic traffic is nothing but number of visitors visiting this particular website on an average in a month organically. That means they themselves searching in search engines and basically visiting this particular website. Okay, so 15 also not so high DR. Of course, when you start it will be zero, but I think reaching maybe 15, you would need to do you need to publish a good number of high quality articles and do the basic digital marketing activities. You will be able to obtain this particular DR, domain rating. Okay, so it also gives some kind of a trend that if you start afresh, okay, there is an opportunity, and you can see some success, and then as and when you keep investing more efforts, you can always see growth. That's what the trend is all about. Okay, so the fourth validation is also true. We already saw a couple of websites, okay, with good success on this particular micro niche. Final one what we look for is earning potential. Okay, at the end of the day we create these sites to earn some money, right? So how we check this particular earning potential? There are two different ways that I look for. One is there is something called CPC. CPC stands for cost per click. Higher is always better. So if you see CPC here, right, it is completely different, varied number is there. Somewhere it is 1, 2, somewhere it is basically 30 cents, 90 cents, but for few keywords it is basically 15 to, this is completely, I think, varied CPC is there, but on an average this looks like, I think, about average only, not so good as well, but average. But what happens is always the CPC you need to multiply with your volume, then actually the real CPC comes out. Looking at this volume, then the CPC will become look very big. So even if it is nearly $1, but if you see the volume, right, for all other micro niches maybe we would have seen the volume of maybe 3k, 4k, 5k, something like this is the 5 times. So that means if CPC you should see it as a nearly 4-5 times. So from that perspective it looks good, but a better way of looking at the earning potential is looking at the earning potential of the reference websites which are just verified. For example, let's look at this patchwork.com. So DR is just 8. Organic traffic is about 50k and about nearly 50k. Look at, there is another label here, traffic value. Traffic value, what it says is the money this particular website can generate if you properly optimize the traffic it is attracting. Okay, let me repeat it. What it says is if you optimize this website properly, this website has a potential to earn about a 7k US dollars per month. That's very good money, right? Now let's I always suggest for the people who are starting a new websites, right, take a very conservative approach. Take only 10% of this. Okay, even if you take 10% of it, it is about nearly 700k per month with a DR of just about 8. Okay, now let's look at the other reference site we just verified. It is a DR 15. That means it's a little better than this. That means you need to work little harder than to achieve this particular DR, but then it is attracting about a 90k keywords and about 80k traffic. But then you look at the traffic value, so it is 11.6k. What it means is if you properly optimize this particular website, then it has potential to earn about a 11.6k US dollars per month. Even if you take a conservative approach of about a 10%, still it is $1160 per month. That's a good money, right? So that means if you, even if you take in middle of it, so it has the micro niche has about maybe anywhere about 700 to 1100, and you can go beyond that as and when as you progress in your journey, and if you keep adding more content and do some digital marketing, if you take your website DR to about maybe 20-30, and this the value you are going to get gain more and more money. Okay, that's what it is. So so that means there is a good earning potential as well for this particular micro niche. So we verified everything. There are thousands of keywords with low difficulty, and we have verified that excellent search volume was there, and we found that more than 4,000 different keywords are there to write the content. And we already verified two websites as reference or proof that this micro niche still works, and a very good earning potential is there. So but primarily this particular micro niche uh, has earning opportunity through mainly through AdSense or maybe some services. Affiliate marketing would be secondary, because you may not be able to find so many products to sell through, but still there may be some products you need to still do some research and find it out. That's why even though so much of high traffic is there, the value is less. Whereas if you are selling the products, right, for this traffic, the value will be much higher. But just because the site is more like informational site, art related sites, the value is less, but still look at the potential is very high. Okay, and see also the finally just look at the sites that we just verified, right? So very simple basic sites. All you need to start this site is you need to have a passion, you need to have some skill related to this particular category. If you have any interest in towards the tattoos and or any skill or any awareness, then I think the perfect, both the sites are very simple sites. It's all about basically the content you can publish on various topics. That's the only basic requirement. Okay, so that's all today. Hope you like the video, and also you would have found this useful. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.